One comment that I think is thrown out at pretty much every YouTuber or streamer or pro player is, what do you think of this champion? So many people look up to others asking their opinions on, what do you think of this champion, this item, this strategy, this build? And whenever you ask someone this question, they 95% of the time respond with the same answer. It's not bad. They all say that that champion or item or whatever it isn't that bad, it definitely can work and it has some potential to it, but there's better stuff out there. It feels like everyone gives this same sort of standard answer towards every question that's asked. And the reason for that is it's honestly true. Like I've mentioned before in a few different videos that pretty much every champion and every build in League of Legends can be used effectively and can do well. It can win you games in solo queue. Just because Yorick's in a bad state right now doesn't mean he can't win games. But just because you do win games with some of these champions sometimes doesn't mean that they're going to be the best viable option out there for you. And in the end, choosing the best option is a pretty important thing in League of Legends. When you get up to higher ratings, or if you're watching competitive play, or even just in the random solo queue game where you have very thin margins deciding who wins the game and who loses, having the best viable option on your team is a really important thing. Like a really good example of this is if you compare Garen and Darius. Oh fuck. No! If you take a look at these two champions, you can see pretty clearly that Darius was made after Garen. Darius is basically Garen 2.0. Their champions' abilities and the role that they fill in a team are super similar to each other, but Darius generally has a slight edge on Garen. They're both champions that deal a lot of damage and small AoEs around them, except Garen's is damage over time with his spin to win, and then Darius is instant and deals extra damage to champions at a certain distance away. Both of them have small amounts of CC. Garen has a silence, and then Darius has his pull, and then also his slow with his W. And then both of their ultimates are executes, but the difference being that Darius has the potential to use his ultimate more than once. Garen is good and does have a few things that Darius actually lacks, like a sustain with his passive. He has a small amount of movement speed buff, and then he also has that small cleanse on slows. But ultimately, those aren't enough to make up for the stuff that Darius has over him. These two champions are so similar and fill such a similar role that generally if you're going to pick one, it's smart to pick Darius. A similar thing happened with Ziggs on his release, where when he first came out, everyone just sort of thought he was a worse version of Karthus. They're both champions where most of their damage comes out from their Qs, but Karthus can spam his more and generally deals more damage with his. They both have small amounts of CC, Karthus with his wall, and then Ziggs with his satchel charge and the slow on his W. Again, not as good as Karthus. And their ultimates are both AoE globals, except Ziggs, you don't guarantee that you hit everyone on the enemy team, and it's not as global as Karthus is. Now again, Ziggs is a champion that can provide some stuff that Karthus can't, and he eventually became more popular in competitive play, but it took a while for people to take notice of him because of all the similarities. Now, I'm not really taking up a stance here saying that these similarities are right or wrong or whatever, but they're just something that sort of exists in the community. That's something that the community has always thought for a really long time. Certain champions might be good, but you always pick the better option, and that translates into solo queue a lot. Try picking Fiora top lane in solo queue, and you'll get yelled at by your team. Fiora might be good, but there are options that are better. Okay, let's be real, Fiora isn't that good. Don't be afraid to break that mold. There are always hidden champions that are a lot stronger than people give them credit for, and that you can really take people by surprise in solo queue if you dedicate the time to learning them. The next time you're wondering about some build or strategy, believe in your convictions. You'll be surprised at how many hidden OPs there are out there. Anyway, though, that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching today's video. I will, of course, see you all tomorrow, but until then, good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.